A driver who is uncontested at the top of the point standings just handed his rival a gift he can't afford to give. One mistake, one snapped loose race car on lap 4. And suddenly, the championship picture at Iowa Speedway looks completely different. Meanwhile, across the track in a different series, a 64-race winless streak just turned into back-to-back victories. Through an overtime meltdown nobody saw coming. This is the day Iowa Speedway rewrote 2 seasons in one afternoon. In the Cup Series race, Tyler Reddick lost the rear end of his car exiting turn 1 on just the 4th lap. He collected Erik Jones on the way to the wall. Both cars were done for the day. Reddick fell from the points lead down to 4th. Jones, who was already fighting for the final playoff spot, got buried even deeper in the standings. In the undercard race, Carson Kvapil, a driver who had gone 64 races without a win before breaking through recently, captured his 2nd straight victory. He beat his own JR Motorsports teammate Ross Chastain, who dominated most of the day, but lost it all in a late caution and a botched restart. Let's start with Reddick, because this is the story with real championship weight behind it. For months, Reddick has functionally owned the points lead, not just leading controlling the season, but the last several weeks have told a different story. Multiple finishes outside the top 25. A slow bleed of points to Denny Hamlin. And now, a self-inflicted wreck at the worst possible time, with the playoff reset just weeks away. Erik Jones' situation is even more brutal. He came into Iowa already outside the cutoff line for the playoffs. This wreck didn't just cost him points. It effectively erased his margin for error with almost no races left to fix it. Now flip over to the Kvapil story. This is a completely different emotional arc. Underdog finally finding speed, then proving it wasn't a fluke. JR Motorsports had a legitimate 1-2 punch working most of the day, and even when the race got wild with multiple incidents in the final laps, their cars were the ones still standing at the front. Let's talk about what actually happened to Reddick, mechanically and strategically. Losing the rear end entering a corner on a green flag lap this early in a 350-lap race is not something you typically see from a championship caliber team. It signals either a setup that was too aggressive for the conditions or a driver pushing an edge that the car simply wasn't ready to hold. Reddick himself admitted as much afterward, calling it a mistake he should have avoided and one that hurt more because it also took out a teammate's car. Here's the deeper problem. This isn't an isolated incident. String together 6 finishes of 25th or worse across 9 races, and you're not looking at bad luck anymore. You're looking at a pattern. Championship contenders can survive one bad day. What they can't survive is a stretch where the mistakes keep compounding right as the format resets and paces reset to 0. Now, is there time to fix it? Technically, yes. But confidence is fragile in this sport, and every week this slide continues, the psychological grip Hamlin has on this points battle gets tighter. On the Kvapil side, the analysis is almost the opposite story. This is about capitalizing, not collapsing. Chastain controlled the race for the majority of the run, but NASCAR overtime restarts are a different animal entirely. Tire temperature, wheel spin, and split-second timing decide everything. Chastain lost the tires on the first overtime restart, and that one moment was enough to hand the race away. Kvapil didn't need to be the fastest car all day. He needed to be the best car for 10 seconds, and he was. The real strategic story here is JR Motorsports' depth. Having 2 cars finish 1-2 in a chaotic multi-wreck finish isn't luck. That's a team with strong late race setups and drivers who know how to survive chaos instead of getting swallowed by it. Expect 2 very different reactions rippling to the fan base today. On the Cup side, frustration. Reddick supporters are going to be pointing fingers at strategy and execution, while Hamlin's camp is going to be quietly thrilled every time this points gap tightens. Jones's situation is going to generate real sympathy. A driver who did nothing wrong on that lap but still paid the heaviest price for someone else's mistake. On the lower series side, it's a completely different mood. This is a feel-good story. A driver who waited 64 races for his first win is now impossible to ignore, and JR Motorsports fans are going to be buzzing about a legitimate 1-2 finish under pressure. Best case for Reddick, he treats this as a wake-up call, tightens up execution over the next few weeks, and steadies the ship before the playoff reset wipes the slate clean anyway. If he does that, this crash becomes a footnote instead of a turning point. Worst case for Reddick, the slide continues. Hamlin closes the gap completely before the reset even happens, and Reddick enters the playoffs with fading momentum instead of the aura of a favorite. For Jones, worst case is brutal and simple. This is the wreck fans point to months from now as the moment his playoff hopes actually ended. Best case for Kvapil. Back-to-back wins turn into a genuine hot streak, and JR Motorsports starts looking like the team to beat heading into the closing stretch of the season. Worst case, this ends up looking like a product of late race chaos rather than pure dominance, and the next few weeks reset expectations back to normal. So here's the real question. Is Tyler Reddick still the driver to beat this season, or are we watching a genuine crack in the armor right before the playoffs reset everything? Drop your take in the comments, best case, worst case, or something in between. And if you want breakdowns like this every single race weekend, make sure you're subscribed because this season is far from settled.